Hello, I'm Richard Beach from sonicstate.com/amped, and today we are looking at the latest wonderful offering from Line 6, the DT25, little brother of the DT50. So the first thing you'll notice is that this is not a combo amp like the DT50 that we reviewed. It's a single 1x12 speaker cab with a DT25 head. The one plus point immediately is that this is much lighter than the DT50. And front panel is pretty much the same as the DT50. You've got two channels which work on a relay system. So if I go to channel B and then change the class to A, then I switch back to channel A and it remembers that I was on class A/B when I was on channel A. So that's brilliant. And then you've got four different voicings. These are the four different amplifiers you have. This is classic American clean, which is basically like a Fender blues amp, and then British Crunch, which is a Marshall amp, supposedly. Class A chime is supposed to be like a Vox AC30, and then modern high gain. Well, obviously that's going to be a Mesa Boogie triple rec. So that's pretty much it. We've also got pentode and triode configuration for the tube system, which was designed by Reinhold Bogner, a legend of valve and analog circuitry. And our master switch, which we can use in low volume mode and normal volume mode, which is a switch on the back for that, and plenty of other things which we'll go into more detail later. Okay, right, so let's look around the back of the amplifier. There's loads of stuff going on here. Here's the low volume mode off and on. We've got it on because trying to mic this up on high volume mode is just mad. Yeah, there's MIDI capabilities, so you can use a MIDI foot switch to control it. The L6 link is basically the HD link, so you can plug your HD foot pedal in and use it as a controller for the preamp, which is great. And you can plug a normal foot switch in there, effects loop, which is genius as well, and cabinet simulated direct out. And then, yeah, 4 ohm out, 8 ohm out, and 16 ohm out options on the output for the speaker as well, which is great. Loads of functionality. The speaker is a Celestion G12H90, which is one of the decent Celestion speakers, and it's housed in a very sturdy speaker cabinet. Both of the head and the cab also have these big chunky rubber feet as well. So
and there's a little handle on top of the cab as well.
Yeah. So yeah, generally it's got a cool aesthetic as well. So it looks kind of boutique and vintage. So the valves in the back, we've got two EL84s and 12 AX7. You've also got a selectable circuitry system, so you can choose between Class A and Class A/B. I think A/B holds 25 watts and Class A is 10 watts. And then you can also choose between, like I said, the pentode and the triode mode in the valves as well. So what I'm going to do now is take you through some of the voicings. So first up, I've got the Fender classic kind of clean sound. And I think it sounds nice for a little bit of jazzy kind of stuff. So here we go. And then if I just go on to channel 2 here, sorry, channel B, I've already set up what is the British Crunch sound, which is basically like a Marshall JCM stack. And then let's rock some AC/DC kind of stuff. There you go. And let's have a look at another. Right, so you can see that my jazz has suddenly turned into a Strat. That's basically because I want a slightly different sound for this. We're going to go for the Vox AC30 type sound. So now I'm on Class A/B, I'm on pentode, and I am on channel A. Here we go. And now I'm going to go for the Mesa Boogie type sound. I'm just going to flick to channel B, where I have set up voice mode 4, which is the modern American high gain, which is basically a Mesa Boogie. I'm going to stick this on class A/B for a bit of power, and then I'm going to see what the triode configuration sounds like. And I'm going to play a Gary Moore riff. Not that he played a Mesa Boogie, but what the hell. There we go. That wasn't Gary Moore at the end, that was me. So back on the Jazzmaster, let's take a look at the controls. We've got drive, bass, mid, treble, through band EQ like you'd expect from a decent amp, presence, and then you've got reverb and volume for each channel, which is useful. The reverb sounds like it's a digital reverb, and it sounds like it's emulating a spring. And I'll show you the tail on the reverb, it sounds quite nice. There we go, that's it tailing off. And let's play a little riff. Right, there's a lot of digital haters out there. I know there are because I used to be one of them. But what I think Line 6 have done really well and really effectively with this amp is the response you get from your guitar with the volume on your guitar. With a lot of digital modeling, you don't get that response. Basically, you take down the volume on your guitar and all you lose is volume. You don't lose any gain. With a valve amp, what you want is that classic kind of, you know, put a bit of volume on, get a clean sound, go to do a solo and scoop the volume up on your guitar. That's how all the guitar greats do it, so it's good enough for me. So I've set this up on channel A, and that's pretty clean, I would say. And then if I just play a little riff, here we go. Hear it come in. Get back down again.
Affects the tone, doesn't it? It sounds lovely.
Yeah, it does, and that's really important if you're looking for, you know, if you're looking for that valve tone, that is a major factor. Right, so I've tried to demonstrate that this is a good amp for a few different styles of music. What I haven't shown you is kind of out of control metal sounds. It does do it, so here we go. And then if you want really crazy, then let's just whack the presence up a little bit, and it starts to...
Wow!
Sorry, I had to do that. Right, so now I'm standing up. It must be important. This is the roundup. Basically, you might have guessed already that I'm a big fan of this amp. I was a big fan of the DT50 when it came out, but it was just a little bit too heavy. This is light enough and portable enough to carry around to a gig and not just sit in a recording studio for its whole life. I think if you don't like digital modeling, if you're one of those people that just says, I don't like it, then this is the time to kind of wake up and smell the bacon, because I was on your side as well, but this is just incredible. And there's that argument that, oh, with modeling you can't build your own sound, but I think with this you really can actually build your own signature sound. You don't just have to emulate other people's sounds, and that's a really important thing that modeling needed to do. There's a few tiny gripes, and that is that much like with the DT50, which was hard to move around, even though the cab has a handle on the top of it, which you can see in there, this is really petty, but I would love for it to have a handle on the side of the cab so that when I've got the head on and I put it on the stage and then a stagehand comes along and goes, you've put that in the wrong place, I don't have to pick up the whole thing or pick up the two things separately. I can just drag it across the stage. That is being quite petty. There's just nowhere to hold on to it if you want to pull it. But if I'm having to clutch at straws like that as you know, pros and cons, then you know, Line 6 has done a good job. I don't mind saying it as an unbiased observer that they've done a fantastic job. The DT25 also comes in combo format if you prefer that, with the same amp and speaker. For the price as well, which will be on the bottom of your screen now, this is, a very, very worthwhile purchase if you're thinking about buying your first valve amp and you've been playing transistor or you've been playing digital amps previously. This is a really good hybrid.